Welcome back, everybody, to another fantabulous episode of Game Chat. So, I'm going to warn you right now, I got a feeling I'm going to get a little ranty in this episode. Although I will do my best to keep my cool, so hold on to your butts and your hats, respectively. Today, I'm going to tell you how to stop being entitled little shits. Yes. So, there's a lot of controversy right now surrounding Titanfall 2. And it shouldn't exist whatsoever. It's not No Man's Sky level of controversy with bad gameplay compared to actual things. It's not shady business practices. It's not about a ridiculous overprice point like Destiny. No. It's about people thinking they're entitled to something they're not entitled to. There's an article and a video that I hopefully will have remembered to put in the description that describe both of these major issues that I'm going to talk to you about right now. Then I'm going to probably talk about a couple things toward the end, and then we'll be done. Let's start with this. Titanfall 2 is not going to be on EA Access. Now let me talk about the background of this. Unlike games such as Madden, FIFA, NHL, Battlefront, things like that, EA did not create Titanfall 2 or have a hand in creating it. Respawn Entertainment created Titanfall 2. EA Entertainment only published the game. This allows Respawn to call the shots whether or not they're going to put it on EA Access. For those of you who are unaware, EA Access is a program where you subscribe to it for X amount of dollars a month or per year, and you can get games for free or at a discounted price, and you usually get to play the games for 10 hours about a week earlier before they release. For example, Battlefield 1, I believe, is on EA Access right now, and you can play for 10 hours, or it will be shortly. And I think that's a great program. Now, it's only on Xbox, and it's only on Origin, I believe. You can get it through Origin. Sony decided to opt out of EA Access for whatever reason, and we're not going to get into that. And with Titanfall 1 being a console exclusive to Xbox, they didn't mind putting it on EA Access because you'd have access for it on PC, and you'd have access for it on Xbox. Both, I don't think it came out early, but it is now, for example, free on EA Access, the original Titanfall. Respawn created Titanfall on a small scale. Respawn was a company that was developed shortly after Modern Warfare 2 from Infinity Ward. In case you didn't know, a lot of the people who worked on Modern Warfare 2 got fired for who knows what reason. They then left to create Respawn Entertainment and didn't do much up until 2014, where they created Titanfall. So although they are an experienced studio, they were a small studio. They managed to get licensing and publishing from EA, which allowed this game to come into fruition. Unfortunately, they were only able to get it onto the Xbox One console. Making a PC game is easy, anyone can do that, and that's why Titanfall was on PC, and they were lucky enough to get a AAA release with EA on Xbox One, with the plans to be to take the revenue from the first game and create a better game, a more expanded game, across all platforms. And that's what Titanfall 2 is. Titanfall 1 was fantastic. It made a lot of money, and although it lacked a little bit in content, it was solid enough, and the gameplay is still solid enough, to have created a more expanded game with free maps, free updates, and things like that in the future. This video in the description is someone reviewing another video, and he does it in a comedic, ranty type way. However, the points he made are valid. The video he is reviewing is about someone who was very, very excited about Titanfall 2, excuse me. He had played both tech tests. He had played the heck out of Titanfall 1. He had already pre-ordered the game. Him and his wife were so excited for it. And it sounds like he wasn't even going to get it on EA Access. However, once he found out the game wasn't going to be on EA Access, he canceled his pre-order, he canceled his wife's pre-order, and now is actively speaking out against it. Because he believes that the fans of Titanfall 1, the people who helped the second game come into fruition, deserve to have the option to purchase it and get a $10 discount on EA Access. This is where being an entitled little shit comes along. And I will speak more about it in the next point I'm going to make in a minute, which I think is even worse than this one. Respawn doesn't owe you anything. Just because you buy, and this goes for anybody, just because you buy a game doesn't mean the company that makes the game owes you anything. They owe you a game that works, and it to be as close to the game they promised to you as possible, if not more. That's where this whole No Man's Sky controversy comes in. And this is not a video where we're talking about that. But that is an example where saying that it didn't work out is valid. This is not. Respawn does not have to put it on EA Access. Respawn is not entitled to put it on EA Access, nor are you entitled to have it on EA Access just because you played Titanfall 1 and took part of a free beta weekend. That doesn't put you anywhere. Now, you are entitled to pay $60, or whatever price they decide to put, in this case $60, for Titanfall 2, and you are entitled to get a game that works and have most of everything they promised to you in the game. If it is not, that is all you're entitled for. If you do not get that, we can come back and talk. They didn't put it on EA Access because they didn't want to segment players the way that Titanfall 1 did. And it wasn't really their fault, but PlayStation wasn't allowed to play Titanfall because they didn't have the money to do so. Now PlayStation can. And they don't want anybody to be better than anyone else. It's on PC, it's on Xbox One, it's on PlayStation. Just because you can get it for cheaper or play it earlier on console and PC, or Xbox One and PC, excuse me, doesn't mean that, you know, that's fair to PlayStation. Because it's not. And it's not PlayStation players' fault that Sony decided not to do EA Access. But Titanfall is supposed to be for everybody, at least as far as Respawn sees it. So they don't want anybody to have an advantage. They don't want the Xbox players to be able to jump on 10 days before the game comes out, play for 10 hours, and have 10 hours of gameplay down that the PlayStation players don't even get the option to. That's what they decide. And other games like Madden or Battlefield decide not, although they are directly owned by EA, not just published, so they would be on EA Access. And I urge you to go watch this video because he goes into much more depth than I will, but it all boils down to, like I said before, you aren't owed anything by anyone besides a working copy of the game that you have purchased. And now, I was ready to write this off as just one guy being a fucking idiot. Excuse my language, but come on. And I was ready to just be like, wow, this guy's a dumbass. I don't want him playing this game anyway. Until this happened. So, Titanfall 2 went gold about a week ago. What that means is the game is officially done. It means that in its state right now, it can be shipped, packaged. It is ready to actually be... discs are being manufactured, box art's being manufactured, and it's being shipped to GameStops, Best Buys, Amazon, all that stuff. As well as finally being updated onto like the Xbox Store and things like that. Because although you can pre-order games long before, you usually don't get to download them till they go gold. Because there's nothing there to download. In celebration, one of the developers of Titanfall 2 tweeted out a picture when he received a disc for the game, saying, "Check it out, Titanfall 2's gone gold, here's the first disc." And the disc he tweeted out was a PlayStation 4 disc. And my guess is either it's just the disc he happened to have, or he was trying to reinforce the fact, hey, Titanfall 2 is on PS4, you know? Well, never talk about PS4 in front of Xbox fans. Because thousands and thousands of Xbox fanboys are now canceling their pre-orders in protest. And here's where I say again, stop being an entitled little shit. Titanfall was not an Xbox exclusive game. It never was. It just wasn't on PS4. Everyone forgets it was on PC and played exactly the same as it does on console on Xbox One. You don't own this game. It's not like they put Halo on PS4, which, by the way, who cares? But let's pretend that that matters so much to you that, you know. And console exclusives are not new. It's a way for companies, for smaller end companies, to get their games out onto a AAA market or a more advanced market. It's a way for companies to try to get you to buy their game. Or in some cases, like Halo and Gears of War, it's actually produced by the company that makes the console, so of course they're going to put it out on their own. I can't even speak. This thing gets me so upset. It's not... Again, you're not entitled to it. Because you played Titanfall 1, because you own an Xbox One, doesn't mean you're the only one who's allowed to play Titanfall 2. Why do you care that your friend who's on PlayStation can now play Titanfall? They're trying not to punish people for buying the quote-unquote wrong console. You know, it's not... My cousin has a PS4. And he's off at college now, but we'd often go over to his house and we'd play PS4. And never once did I sit down and be like, wow, this sucks. I hate this. Why can he play Call of Duty too? I don't give a shit. Now, would I be like, man, I wish I could play Halo with him, or I wish I had a game that he had or we could play together? Sure. I wish I could jump online and play, you know, Battlefield 1 with him, because I know he's going to have it. But I don't care. I don't care he has a PS4. He likes PS4. I like Xbox One. Great. The end. Who cares? That's what I don't get about these console wars. And I can understand the console war part itself, I guess. But when it extends into the games themselves, especially a game that is on every system, it's not exclusive to anything, and Titanfall 1 wasn't either. It just doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, you know, console exclusivity, that's the word I was looking for, altogether doesn't make much sense, but I'm not going to go into a debate over that right now. That's time for another video. I just don't get, and this is kind of a no-answer game chat as well. It's kind of just an open-ended, think about this for yourself, leave some opinions in the comments section type video. It doesn't matter. You're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to Titanfall 1 because you played Titanfall 2 because you played Titanfall 1. And just because you own an Xbox doesn't mean you should be better off than the kid who decided to get a PS4. What if a kid got a PS4 because all his friends were playing PS4? And he really, really wants to play Titanfall. Why should he be punished? Especially when the company has no reason to make it an exclusive, because the first one wasn't an exclusive. And all of a sudden now it's like, well, I don't understand. Rise of the Tomb Raider was on PlayStation as well. It came out a year later, and I think that has to do with Microsoft backing the first game and them kind of striking a deal there. Similar kind of idea. But nobody cared. No one said a word about it being on PlayStation as well. All of a sudden, that's a AAA game. It happened to come out the same day as, like, Destiny or something. No, that was Rise of Tomb... It came out the same day as, like, another huge game. I don't remember which game. But it saw a huge sale market, like 14, 15 million copies. You know, even for a smaller AAA game. And then it came out a year later on PlayStation and saw like 11 million copies sold or something. It was a comparable number. And no one batted an eye. But now this huge... Titanfall 2 is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. And, you know, I'm going to guess it's going to be up there in the top 3 on Xbox, behind Battlefield and Call of Duty. At least as far as shooter games are concerned. Why on... Battlefield's on all 3 consoles, on all 3 systems. Call of Duty's on all 3 systems. Why shouldn't Titanfall be on all 3 systems? And I think it's because Xbox fanboys, and I say fanboy because you really have to be a fanboy to care. Am I a fan of Xbox? Yes. Am I a fanboy? No. Because I don't care that much. Think that Titanfall 1 was an exclusive. Which it was not. For the 400th time, it was not. All they're trying to do is say to you, hey, guess what? PlayStation players want to play Titanfall 1. Here's Titanfall 2. We did what we said we were going to do. We promised you that you would get this game. It's better than the first one. And now everybody can play. And I don't see a problem with that. And if you do, just, you're an entitled shit. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry, I know I got angry. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time.